What is a sigil? How do you make it? What do you do with it? We're going to talk about it in this video. We're taking it back to the whiteboard wall. We're working with a glare. I drew a circle around it. This is now the moon. Deal with it. So what is a sigil? It is a symbol or a glyph that you create using your intentions and some techniques that we're going to talk about. You're going to activate it, and then you're going to put it to use. You can draw it on things. You can forget about it. You can throw it in the wind. Doesn't matter. It's just another way to unlock things within your subconscious mind and also manifest your intentions. It is super accessible, super easy. Whether you are new to witchcraft and magic or you are very, very experienced, doesn't matter. Anybody can do it. All you need is something to write on. You can even do this on your phone or tablet. You don't even need a paper and a pen. But we're going to use the whiteboard wall today. I'm going to start with one of the most common ways to create a sigil. This is going to be really helpful for anybody who doesn't deem themselves to be a creative person, not really good at drawing, not very artistic. It's fine. This is probably going to be the easiest way for someone like that. But really, anybody can do it. I'm going to encourage you to pause a lot and screenshot. You can actually pinch to zoom on TikTok. So do that so that you can see this more clearly. I'm trying to fit it all in as best as I can. You're going to start with this little series right here. You're going to put numbers 1 through 9 and a column going down. And then you're going to put the alphabet in alphabetical order. Imagine that. Starting with A, ending with Z. And once you get to the end, you're going to come back down around so you can see that clearly. One of the most important things about creating a sigil is how you phrase it. You're going to start with a very simple phrase. I am successful. It's not the most specific, but it's what we're going to work with today. You never want to say, I will, I want, I hope, I wish. No, no, no. You always phrase your statement as I am, I do, I can. You're going to always phrase it as if it's happening now or it has already happened. We're not doing wishes and wants here, okay? We're not making a wish. We are setting an intention. This is what we intend to be, successful. So you're going to write it as such, okay? You've got that. Now, once you've got whatever it is that you want to say, it could be, I got the promotion. I am successful. I am abundant. I am prosperous. Money flows to me effortlessly. Whatever it is that you want to say, okay? First thing you're going to do is you're going to knock out all the vowels. I do not count Y as a vowel in this instance, so A, E, I, O, U. Cross them out. Get rid of them. Next step is you're going to get rid of any repeating letters. Not all the repeating letters, just the ones that are repeating. So basically, when we're done with this, you're going to be left with one of each letter that's still up here. So we've got 3 S's. We only need 1. Get rid of these. We've got 2 C's. We only need 1. Get rid of that one. So what we are left with is M, S, C, F, L. Perfect. That's all you need. Now, the next thing you're going to do is you're going to assign a number to each of these letters, and that's where this little guy comes in. As you can see, they're all associated with a number. So we're going to start with M. M, we go up. That's the number 4. Then we go to S. S, that's the number 1. C, 3. P-O. Anybody? No, just me? Okay. F, 6. And L, 3. 4, 1, 3, 6, 3. Now, it's okay to have repeating numbers in this, okay? It's just the repeating letters we want to get rid of. Now that we've done that, we're going to go to our little wagon wheel here, where we have, again, put numbers 1 through 9, and each number has its own little pie piece. And what I always do is I start with a circle, and I end with a dash. And I do that so I know where I'm starting and where I'm finishing if I have to rewrite this sigil on anything. And you're basically going to connect all these numbers using your wagon wheel. Very simple. We're going to start with the number 4. We're going to do a circle. We're going to connect 4 to 1, which is up here. Then we're going to go 1 to 3. Then we're going to go 3 to 6. Put that in, there we go. And then we're going to go 6 back to 3. And then I'm going to end with a dash. Okay? So, if I'm rewriting this, it's going to look like this. And there's your sigil. This is your sigil. And that's it. You just made a sigil. And now you can go towards to activate that, but I'm going to show you a couple other methods to create a sigil before we go into activating. Hold on, let me wipe the board down and we'll start over. All right, we're going back with I am successful. Remember, we're knocking out the vowels. We don't need them. They were helpful with this, but we don't need them after that. we're going to knock out any of our repeating letters. And again, we're left with MSCFL. Okay. Now, this is pretty easy. I like to do it this way as well, but some people do struggle with this because they don't feel, they have like a creative block in doing this, but try it and see how you like it. You're basically going to make a symbol using all of these letters. They can be upside down, they can be backwards, they can be forward, they can be however you want. So let's just say, you can start in any order, it doesn't matter. We're going to do the L backwards, right? I cross them off as I go, so I keep up with what I'm doing. And then we're going to make this line our F. And then I'm going to come over here, and I'm going to do the M upside down. And then I'm going to do the S somewhere in here. And then we're just going to do C like that, okay? Very simple. Now, you can get as elaborate as you want. You can add dots. You can add dashes. You can add lines. You can add curves. You can add anything to this that you want, as long as your main goal here is that you've used all the letters. And then once you're happy and satisfied with it, that is your symbol. That's your sigil right there. Super easy. Now, the other method of doing this that I also like to do is to break all these letters down into individual lines. So we're going to start with the M, 4 lines. I like to break S's down into 2 curves. C, you don't really break it down, it's just C. F, 2 lines, and then L. So everything's broken down into a line. Now you can turn this into a sigil by using these lines. I'll put these 2 curves from the S together and I'll make a circle. Cross them out as I go. Maybe this C, I'll put right there. Now I've got all these other lines to work with. You can make them as long or as short as you want. Put 2 lines on that side, 2 lines on that side. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 lines left. Let's do 2 here. Then we'll do these 2 lines here. And then there you go. That's another way of drawing a sigil. Now this is your sigil, and you used it putting all the lines together from all the letters that you used. So that's just 3 super basic, super easy ways to make sigils, making sure you're affirming something as it is happening or like it's already happened. I pay rent every month. I got the apartment, you know, all these things. Think of something that you are really trying to manifest and put it like it's already happening or like it's already happened, and then you go from there. So let's talk about what you do after you've made the sigil. When I teach people how to make sigils, I say it's a 3-step process: creation, activation, operation. Well, we just made the sigil, so creation part is done. Now we got to go into activation. We got to really give it that purpose and put it to work. There have been many times I have been creating a sigil and putting all my thoughts and energy and intentions into it, and it has come to pass before I even had the chance to activate it. So part of the activation process is in the creation, because while you're creating it with your intentions, you're thinking about, what's my life going to look like once this comes to pass? And you're going to keep it in the forefront of your mind the whole time, and that's just really helpful. Now, as far as activating, I get a lot of questions. How do I know is the right way to activate a sigil? It's going to depend on you. What you feel is right, trial and error, trying a bunch of different stuff, try a little bit of everything. Everybody's got a different way of doing it. I like to meditate with it. I like to have my sigil somewhere near me, and I meditate on it. And I just meditate while I stare at it, while the lines start to get kind of blurry, and I'm really thinking about my intentions and putting all that energy into it. You write it on a little note card, and you can put oils on it. Any type of like manifestation oil that you have, you can put that on there. Bodily fluids. You can put your bodily fluids on there. That's always a great way to activate a sigil. Exhaustion is another one. A lot of people like to exercise while either looking at it or holding it in their hands, rubbing their sweat all over it. Just really, have you ever done wall sits? If you know what a wall sit is, I will sit against one wall in the hall and I'll tape my sigil to the wall across from me, and I'll do a wall sit until I literally collapse while I'm staring at the sigil. That's a good way of putting the energy into it. There are some other methods that I can't talk about on here or I'll get in trouble, but bodily fluids, use your imagination, okay? Now, once you've activated it, what the crap do you do with it? Oh, by the way, a lot of people like to burn theirs, or they like to put it in water. A lot of people like to bury them. A lot of people like to put them under the sun or the moon. So, forgot to mention that, but a lot of different ways you can activate it. You're just putting more and more energy into this symbol. Next thing is you use it. Now, there's 2 schools of thoughts here. One is you make it, and then you completely forget about it. You get rid of it. Don't ever think about it ever again. Completely forget about it. A lot of people believe your sigil won't work until you've completely forgotten about it. okay? And the whole point is you've created a symbol that doesn't matter how long somebody stares at it, they're not going to know what it means. And after a while, when you look at it, you may have forgot what it meant too. And in a lot of ways, that's a good thing. Now, some people think that no, you should hold on to it where you can use it on different things and use it repeatedly. For me, it depends on the sigil. If I'm making a sigil for a one-time thing, I make it and forget it. Set it and forget it. If it's something like I'm using in like a home protection ward, I do hold on to it so I can continue to use it. If you make something like that, you can carve it into the corners of your home or write them under, something and put them in the corners of your bedroom. You can just like put them on a little card, tuck them in a potted plant and have one in all the corners of your bedroom. If you've got like a money sigil, you can keep it in your wallet. If you want to do a sigil for, self-esteem, you can keep it on your vanity or where you get ready in the mornings. You can even write it on the mirror. There is no end to how you can use sigils. Do you have to write it in ink or something like that? No, you do not. You can actually just trace it with your finger, anything like that. You can write it in something that will disappear. Does not matter. You can do whatever you want with it. You can put it wherever you want. If you are something to help you with work, put it on a piece of paper and tape it under one of your desk drawers. That's something you could do with it as well. You can have them out in the open or you can have them completely hidden. If you have a Cricut, you can make one for safe travel, cut it out on the Cricut and slap it on your car. Who's going to know what it means but you? Doesn't matter. If somebody asks, you can tell them to mind their damn business. So that's just some of the ways that you could use sigils. I am trying to keep this under like an hour, okay? So those are just some of the ways that you can use sigils. Now I want to answer the questions that you had about sigils. I got hot and my camera died. So hairs up, we're recording from our phone now. So we're going to get to your questions. First one is from Melting Taurus. How do you personally decide which method of sigil creation to use when creating sigils? It's going to be just your intuition and what you feel you can do. What are you capable of? What do you feel that you can do but not feel bad about yourself? Because there are people that create artistic masterpieces when creating their sigils. And you may look at that and start to feel bad about your own sigils. But it should never be something that causes you stress or makes you feel bad about the way you're practicing. You're going to do the method that works best for you. If you are super artistically inclined and you can just intuitively start to draw or write and have your sigils come about that way, awesome. But if you're like me and you just need a little bit of extra help, so you make them with individual lines from letters or using the wagon wheel, then nothing wrong with that. It's just whatever you feel that you're capable of and what you want to do. There's not like one method of creating sigils is superior to all other methods. It's just using your intentions, focusing. That's the whole point. It's focusing your intentions. You've got the letters in there. So you're just really infusing the whole thing with your intentions to unlock things within your subconscious. May asks, where do I even start with sigils? With intentions. That's where it starts. You have something that you intend to make happen, and that's where it starts. You have an intention, something you want to have happen, and you go from there. You be like, hey, you know what? I really need to get out of the situation I'm in and be able to get in a new place to live. So you're like, hey, I intend to move. So your sigil may be like, hey, I find a new place to live, or I found a new place to live. I found a better living situation. Whatever that may be. You just start with an intention and you go from there. Jolie Smith asks, how do you determine whether to use a sigil or other form of magic? Again, this is going to tie into your intuition, what you feel motivated and able to do. Now, for me personally, if it's something big, let's say I've got a banishing ritual I need to do because there is something or someone in my life that is affecting the quality of my life and I need to do some type of banishing ritual, I'm probably not going to just create a sigil for that. I'll probably create a sigil to carve in a candle or to write on something like a jar, but I'm not going to just do a sigil. I need a few more steps for me, but that just comes with study and experience, trying to figure out what works best. And you're just going to experiment with things like, did this sigil alone cut the mustard, or could I have done a little bit more? Because you can create sigils and then add them to other types of spell work that you're doing. Again, like I said, carving them into candles and stuff like that, But if you think it's something like, hey, I'm just going to create a sigil today and I'm going to see how it goes. Just experiment. The only way you're going to know is by practicing. It's called a practice for a reason. Just start practicing. And there are people that just do sigils because that's all that they have the ability or want to do. And they've been very successful with that. There are people that make sigils for really big things and it works fine for them. It's just a matter of what has worked for you. And the only way you're going to find out is just to keep practicing. Meme asks, how do you make your sigils? Like I showed you up here. And there's other ways that people do it as well. These are just the 3 more common methods, and I still use these to this day. Jolie Smith asks, how long do they last / how long do they take to work? Is it dependent on what it's for? It's not necessarily dependent on what it's for, unless you're trying to manifest something that you know isn't probably going to come to pass for a set amount of time. But how long they take to work and how long they work, it's just dependent on the sigil and what else is going on in your life / the universe to take it to get there. So, like I said, I've had sigils start working while I'm creating them. Sometimes it just, your intentions, everything just sets up and falls into place and shit just starts working. Sometimes it takes a bit longer. Again, it's just going to depend on what's going on in your life because magic has a way of working in ways we don't expect. So for example, let's say you live in Tornado Alley and your living situation, it's not a safe structure and you're renting. So even if you had the money to put in a storm shelter, you couldn't, and it wouldn't matter because you don't have the money to put in a storm shelter anyway, okay? So let's say you create a sigil that says, my family is protected from tornadoes. Awesome. It's a great sigil. But let's say a month after you make that sigil, your neighbors put in a storm shelter. They had the money and they own their home. So they put a storm shelter in and they come to you and say, hey, if the tornado's coming, you and your family have an open invitation to hop in our storm shelter any time of day or night. Awesome. Now, tornado's coming. Do you stay in your house because you made a sigil that said my family is protected from tornadoes, or do you go to the shelter? I hope you get your butt in the storm shelter because that could have just been the way that your sigil came to pass. Your neighbors came into some money and they had the opportunity to put one in, and now, poof, your family is safe and protected from tornadoes. Don't sit in your house because you're like, but I put the sigil here, so we're fine. Don't do that. If you have an opportunity and a surefire way to be protected from something, take that route, because for all you know, that may have been the way that sigil played out. So, watch the world around you and things that unfold, because a lot of times things pan out in ways we don't expect unless we are super, super, super specific. Silver XX Foxy Cleopatra says, what type of sigils can I write on myself for love and protection? Can I use invisible ink, or does it need to be seen to work? You can use invisible ink or it can be seen. It doesn't matter. You can write whatever sigils you want on yourself. Just make sure it's something that you want to come to you personally. I don't tend to write a lot of sigils on myself. I may put them in a piece of paper and keep them in my pocket. I have a locket that has several different chambers, and it's a really good way to do sigil shoaling if you want to wear your sigils, because it's just easy for me to move things around and adjust things as needed. But you can put any sigil you want on yourself, whether it's I'm protected from the evil eye, or I feel really good about myself when I look in the mirror. Those are things you can write on yourself, or you can write them on your mirror. So it doesn't matter. Just be careful. You want to make sure it's something that you want to draw to yourself. And if you're writing it on yourself and it's visible, expect people to ask questions. And if that's okay with you, then there you go. So that's all the questions. This was kind of chaotic and all over the place, but I was really trying to fit it all in and make sure that everything was going to fit in here. If you have further questions, please let me know, because there's still so much that I could talk about when it comes to sigils. And thank you so much for watching